cable packages where you can see football and soccer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now going into your fourth intention, soccer is more fair. Okay, basically, do you agree with the fact there are also bad times in soccer?
What do you mean bad times?
As far as teams can get, how you say, messed over?
No, it's pretty fair. The best team gets to advance.
All right, is everyone ready? Mr. Austin, you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's begin. All right, let's just go right into things. All right, when we're going into this topicality argument, let's look at what he did. He says he has absolutely no ground to debate off of. At that very second he says it, if he can make even one good point that can counteract anything the affirmative says, even if it doesn't make sense, then his whole topicality argument falls. He provided 5 points that do make sense. Do they beat the affirmative case? No, I'll show you why they don't. But at the point they do make sense, and that you can see they do make sense in that realm, then his topicality argument falls. He has ground to debate, which he does have according to his own negative case. Going into his first contention, competition, there's far better competition in the Premier League than there is in the NFL. Okay, he gives you no evidence to prove why there's 38 games compared to 16 games in the NFL. Is it necessarily better? He has not proven why it is. So when we're talking about competition, that just means more games. He has given you no rivalries or anything that would put the Premier League over top of the NFL. Let's look at Bears versus Packers, Cowboys versus Saints. People will want to die to go see those games because those rivalries are ones that will stick in your memory banks forever. You're never going to forget that. Let's go. Football is more boring to watch. Do you watch commercials? Okay, that is his only evidence. It's not even evidence. He has given you no polls, no ratings, or anything that proves that anyone in this room would prefer to watch soccer over football. So the second contention completely falls based on lack of evidence. Affordability, $200 plus ticket for an NFL Super Bowl ticket versus $145 at Chelsea Stadium for a Premier League ticket, basically is what he was saying. I asked him, can you watch soccer and football with Sunlink, DirecTV, or even a basic cable package? He admitted yes. So that, as far as affordability goes, right out the window. So going into sports, soccer is more fair. Basically what I try to ask, is there any way that a soccer team can get messed over in the Premier League? Is there any evidence of that? He said, absolutely not. It is completely fair compared to the NFL. Okay, he gave you no reason why the NFL record is what it is. He gave you no criteria on how these teams advance and why they advance. All he said is, Packers 8-8, they got in over a person who had a more positive record. Did he give you any evidence as to why that happened? No. So you cannot agree with that based on the fact he doesn't even know what criteria the NFL has for teams advancing to go into the playoffs. So finally, going into football is more dangerous. Okay, so what he's advocating here is that there are absolutely no injuries in soccer whatsoever. Leg injuries. You can go into arm injuries. You can break your neck. Because you're talking about 147 injuries, mainly concussions. He's advocating that there is not a single injury in soccer. It is public knowledge that if you ever even watch soccer once, you would know that there were injuries. You would hear about them on the news and sports news. So when he's saying that there's virtually no injuries in soccer compared to football, that does not stand. So after clearly refuting the negative case, I urge you to ask for an affirmative ballot the fact that football is better than soccer based off what's better for the fans represented, who has the better fans. Thank you.
You ready?
Please.
Okay, my opponent just came up here, and I'm not sure if we're going back over his case or not, because he kind of just left it because he just kind of went through all my points and everything. But I think that he agreed with me on the whole. I'm not sure if he agreed with me or not on the whole American thing, but judges, please take into consideration, you live in America, don't you? Do you think that football is more popular than soccer in America? You would agree with me. So moving on from that, not talking about that anymore, let's just go on to the real argument here. What is better? Football is better than soccer. Like I said, if I can show you that they're both the same, if you walk out here today saying, well, sports are sports, you know, they're both the same, then you would vote for me. Or if you think that soccer is better than football, then you would vote for me as well. So anytime that you have any doubt in his affirmative case, then you should vote for me. First off, go through my points again. My first point, he said competition. He was like, there's no evidence because there's more games, that there's better competition in soccer than football. Well, I said also that there's more teams too. There's more professional teams. There's 38 games. Whenever you have more games, you get to see, you know, a better understanding of who's good and who's bad, rather than playing half of the games. You get to see a longer longevity of who's good. When it makes common sense. Whenever you see more games, you know who's better. My second point, he said I have no evidence at all that commercials are boring. I mean, he didn't actually say that, but you can take it into account. That's basically what he said. Like he didn't go over my point about you know, replay time. 56% of the time in football is actually watching replays. Whenever you're watching soccer, you're watching live game time. You're not watching replays the whole time, and not watching your ShamWow commercials and whatever on TV, probably Doritos. My third point was affordability. He said you can watch it on TV, but if you're a true fan, you might want to go to the game. And if you are a true fan and you want to go to an NFL game, you might want to have to take out a second mortgage on your house, because the tickets are almost $300 for a Super Bowl compared to $145 being the top game in soccer. So yeah, that makes sense. My fourth point, soccer is more fair. He said that I had no evidence, but obviously I gave evidence that an 8-8 team can make it into the playoffs whenever teams with better records sometimes don't advance, like this instance just last year in 2013 when the 11-5, you're talking about the Saints, they're 11-5. They won more games than they did lose games. They won 11, they lost 5 games. They won twice as many games as they lost. They didn't advance when Green Bay broke even at 8-8. Basically, in soccer, what happens is whoever has the best record advances. So obviously, it's more fair. You're not going to get screwed over like the Saints did in 2013. My fifth point, football is more dangerous than soccer. Well, of course it is. Your average football player, like I said, lives to be in their mid-50s. That's their expected their life expectancy. So I don't know about you, but even if I was good at football, I probably wouldn't want to play football, because I wouldn't want to live to be 55 years old. And coming from a stand basis, can you imagine all of your great football players, they die in such a young age? That's very sad for fans, too, if we're looking at this from the fans' perspective. 147 concussions. Obviously, there's more concussions in the NFL than there is soccer. Whenever you have 300-pound men running around and hitting you as fast as they can, taking you to the ground, you're going to have a lot more concussions. So as far as how safe it is, soccer is way more safe than football. His first point was action. Football has more action. He gave some website, but he didn't say how it's more action or anything. Actually, my commercials argument goes against that. There's a lot more action in soccer. You don't get interrupted by commercials. Second point, he said TV. He only looked at that in America's views. Well, duh, more people watch football in America than soccer. And his third point was fans, when actually there's way more soccer fans than football fans across the world. Please vote for the negative.
All right, is everyone ready? Mr. Russell, you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's begin. All right, now let's go right into what the negative said, and I'll go into what the affirmative case is again, and I'll give you some quick reasons why I should come to voting for the affirmative ballot today. Now, let's go right into what Mr. Austin basically said. that if there's any doubt in the affirmative case, then you vote negative. All right, let's look at what he's done here. He's preached topicality, then he's preaching a case of why soccer is better than football. Which is he trying to advocate to you, judges? Is he advocating that he has no ground of debate, or does he have ground of debate? So clearly he's already contradicting his own case. Let's go with the fact that there are more pro teams as far as this first contention. He gave you no evidence to prove that there are more professional teams in the Premier League than there are in the NFL. All he said was there's 38 games compared to 16. That gives you no evidence of how football is worse than soccer, or soccer is better than football. We are looking at, and I want you to pay attention to this is a huge voter. What did he admit in cross-examination? Is fans a fair weighing mechanism? Even when we're looking at it from the world or America, starting off on base, is fans a fair weighing mechanism? At the very second he said, yes, Charles, it is, which he did admit in cross-examination. Then all of this evidence as far as affordability, competition, soccer is more fair. It holds no candle to the weighing mechanism. So therefore, those are reasons why I feel comfortable in voting for an affirmative. Let's go more into this. Is the fact that affordability, soccer is more affordable. I want you to acknowledge the fact that the negative never addressed my rebuttal of TV packages being a lot more affordable to both games. So therefore, it disproves the affordability argument. So looking at competition, I've disproven that with the fact he has no evidence to back it up, and that 38 games is not more competition, it's just more opportunities to watch a game. Football is more boring to watch. He gave no evidence as far as approval ratings to people saying that football is more boring than soccer. No one actually likes watching soccer more than football. He gave no evidence to prove that. Affordability, my TV argument that went unanswered rebuts that, and soccer is more fair. Again, no evidence as far as the 11-5 to 8-8. He gave no evidence as to why this happened, to the criteria that gets you a playoff spot. So therefore, that cannot stand. And fifth, football is more dangerous. He basically dropped the argument of saying there's no injuries in soccer. That's what the negative is advocating here. Do not believe that. There are injuries in soccer and football, but that is not going to determine why soccer is better than football. Let's go for some quick voters right here. The topicality versus the negative case. He's advocating two things, and he's only supposed to be advocating one. He was never clear on which one he was advocating, so that's the first reason you feel comfortable voting for the affirm, a clear contradiction of the negative case. Second, the weighing mechanism still stands thanks to the negative branding that fans is a fair weighing mechanism. We are looking at it through the American point of view. Not 100% of fans agree that football is better. 64% does. At the very second that he can argue that soccer is better than football, then he has no topicality argument. And therefore, I've still proven how the affirmative is going to win this round today. And my last voter is for you, and my case still stands versus the negative being refuted. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, let me ask y'all some questions. Charles, start off. What was